Greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Cocktails and Curveballs. I'm Patrick. I'll be your host for today. First and foremost, like we like to kick off every show, I want to give a big heartfelt thank you to all the men and women in our armed forces, past and present, home and abroad. You guys keep fighting that fight that allows us, all the Americans and us and everybody involved, to enjoy the freedoms that we all love on a daily basis. So thank you very much for that. Also, a big shout out to all the first responders. You guys do a job that not many want to do, and you keep this country moving as well. Nobody says thank you enough, so thank you for that. That being said, I just want to let everybody know, first and foremost, I am trying a new beer. It's called Schafferhofer, right? It's German, shocker, and it's a grapefruit Hefeweizen. I love Hefeweizen, so I'm going to give it a whirl right now. And I want to give you guys, I heard something the other day. Shannon Sharpe is not a stranger to head scratching comments. So he said something a few days ago. I don't know if you guys seen this, and I really want to get your take on how you felt about this. He came out and said that Dak Prescott, point blank, is a better quarterback than Joe Burrow. Jim, talk to me, Goose. What's your feelings on that?
Well, first off, I'm on the Diet Mountain Dew, fellas, because of way too many Coors Lights last night.
Nice. Well done.
This fucking guy.
Entirely too many, so had to get my plug in for the Mountains are Blue anyway.
This is a pretty regular occurrence with you.
I know.
Be goddamn sponsored by Diet Mountain Dew.
I know nobody knows what time we do this at home, but it just got to give me a little more time, man. I can't. It's a little early.
It's blue mountains with you, or it's green mountains with you.
That's right. Blue mountains or green mountains. So anyway, no, ridiculous. Number one, and I don't want to get into my whole opinion. Listen, Shannon Sharpe, he does say, he does a decent job. But I think a lot of times Shannon Sharpe just says things just so that people like us can blow it up.
Right.
And I think that's kind of it, because anybody that believes that Dak Prescott is a better quarterback than Joe Burrow, dude, there's just no way. And I'm going by the eye test, of course.
Sure.
You could run up all the numbers you want and stuff, but hey, listen, at the end of the day, who's been to AFC championships, and then who's been to NFC championships? Who's been to Super Bowls? Who hasn't? At the end of the day, Dak is responsible for, and if we're going to make the quarterback position, if we're going to hold them accountable, like everybody seems to want to do, Dak Prescott, what do they got? One playoff win in his whole career?
Yeah.
And he's literally responsible for last year coming in and after, how many, 14 interceptions, 27 touchdowns, something like that. It's numbers like that.
That's a pretty good pull off the top of your head.
And
if those are accurate.
Well, it's because I've just been listening to these cowboy fuckers, man. And excuse my language.
Tell me how you really feel.
They've made a movie about that, right?
The most dysfunctional program, the most dysfunctional organization, maybe in sports. For all the talent they have and everything else, and just can't get it together.
Right.
So whether that comes from the top down, I don't know. But to answer your question, bud, no, there's no fucking way.
Right.
There's no way Dak Prescott is a better quarterback than Joe Burrow at this point. And Dak Prescott's been in the league how much longer?
Yeah, quite a bit. So, Ty, do you see a situation where if Dak Prescott was on the Cincinnati Bengals right now, would he be as successful as Joe Burrow, or probably not even close?
Well, first off, I got a deadlift IPA. So Widmer Brothers, who I think, are those the brothers that invented airplanes in flight?
Maybe.
I think it might be. It doesn't matter.
Right,
it's
brother,
pretty good. It's not
okay.
bad. I'm gonna drink this, and I'm gonna get stoned on Keystone Lights.
Wow. That was a good one.
Yeah, thank you. I think there are 32 NFL franchises that would tell you that Joe Burrow is better than Dak Prescott. Mm-hmm. But that's interesting. I mean, if Dak Prescott is on the Bengals, Joe Burrow's on the Cowboys, I don't know. I don't know that roles get reversed very much because I think the Cowboys have tried pretty hard to give Dak Prescott weapons. I mean, granted, yes, Amari Cooper's now gone, but when it was Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard was still on the roster then.
Don't
Ezekiel Elliott, who's I mean, he's gone downhill hard fast, you know, but as far as offensive and an offensive line, let's be real, like the Cowboys had an offensive line that was very, very good.
Like they've been top 5 for several years now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've started to fall off a little bit, but for the first, what's Joe Burrow been in the league? He just was third year.
Third year.
Fourth year.
This will be. I think this is his 4th coming up.
I think this will be his 4th year. Yeah. I mean, look at how many times he's been sacked.
Yeah.
Compared to Dak Prescott's first. Yeah. Dak Prescott's
and
first.
They haven't had a great. They haven't had a great line. Cincinnati's
that's exactly
line.
My point, right? That's exactly what I'm getting at. So Joe Burrow's, and he's got weapons. Up. Don't get me wrong. Like that guy, that team, that offense is loaded at skill positions.
Right, but they didn't start with that though. T, you're absolutely right. Yeah. They didn't start with that.
Right, right.
And that guy got lit up, man, and injured.
That's why he got
out.
Hurt. That's why he got
exactly.
Hurt.
And I don't think just to go to what you're saying, I don't think if you switched him, Dak wouldn't be doing as well as Joe Burrow. And it's the eye test that Jim brought up. I think watching them play, Dak's a good quarterback. He's got a strong arm. Obviously, you're playing in the league, you're making bad money, but
what are you drinking, Lee?
Oh, hell, yeah. It's funny you say that. I would take Joe Burrow all day long, end of story. So this one right here, this is there's a brewery over in Missoula. It's called Bayard Brewing. And the owner and the master brewer is Jurgen Nolan. The guy, if you find any beer from Bayern, he doesn't make a bad beer. So try it out. But this one is their Maibach. This is a lager that only comes out in the spring. And I look for this thing every spring. I will probably go through at least a couple cases of this beer while it's in stock. It's only around for a couple months, 7% and a lager. So super good. If you can find it somewhere, anybody out there, get it because it's good shit. But real, just to end on the Burrow thing, I don't think Dak. I don't think Dak on Cincinnati could do nearly as well. I think if Joe Burrow was in Dallas with that line, and even just CeeDee Lamb with Amari Cooper gone, I think he would make Dallas incrementally better than Dak Prescott does. So I think if Joe Burrow went to Dallas, Dallas is a contender for a Super Bowl. I don't think Dak does anything. Maybe if he's lucky, get in the playoffs if he was in Cincy. I just don't see it. Joe Burrow and anybody and Shannon Sharpe, you know what, man? There's a bag of dicks in the corner you can go suck on. That's where you need to be.
Shannon Sharpe is huge. You better hope he never hears that.
Yeah, but
that man could still play in the league.
I don't know about all that.
I don't know if he could.
And I think
Shannon Sharpe would whoop both your asses at the same damn time.
I think Jim hit it right on though. I really believe, because let's face it, a lot of the comments he makes are not comments like, well, I don't see it, but maybe. I mean, he makes comments like this that are like, come on, man. Well, again, the eyeball test, without even digging up stats, there's no, if the owner had his choice between taking Dak Prescott and Joe Burrow right now, not for future, not to build on, but right now as their quarterback, there's not one GM, not one owner that would take Dak Prescott, not one. And so Shannon makes a comment like that. Listen, this guy probably has forgotten more about football than I'll ever know. So that being said, you can't tell me that he really believes that shit. So that makes me think, is this
trying to
like
create
Jim said?
Drama?
Yeah,
get people to listen.
that's what
That's
he
exactly
does.
just what Jim said. Yep.
That's what he does. And it, you know what, you take about half of what Shannon Sharpe says with a grain of salt,
Right.
because you know it's his opinion, it's his eye test. And listen, there's a shock value in it, right? But Joe Burrow, you guys remember his senior year?
Oh,
What did he throw? 50 some touchdowns at LSU?
Historically
was
great.
it 5? I think we throw
Unbelievable.
5 picks or something.
And then comes right
Wow.
into the league and takes a Bengals team, you know, that traditionally pretty bad, you know, it's that 500 team, whatever, and takes them to the AFC Championship when the man is a winner. My point is,
Right.
the man is a winner, and I just don't see that out of Dak Prescott. He's a great quarterback. Dak Prescott is a very good quarterback, and he's but Joe Burrow has just got that extra desire, that extra will, whatever you want to call it. You know, he left Ohio State with a chip on his shoulder, rightfully so, maybe.
Is he, would you say Dak is top 10, Jim?
Man, I don't know. I don't think so. Not right now. I'd say he's right outside the top 10.
Top 12, maybe. For sure, I'd say top 12, right?
Yeah,
I would say
that's about where I'd slot him, about
And
12.
Hey, listen. So he finished 12th in QBR and 12th in ratio and stuff. He is right there at number 12 statistically also.
Right.
Okay, not just eye test. I'm not putting him because he just can't. They do win.
I mean, Burrow's got to be top 3, right? Burrow's got to be top 3.
I think he's firmly cemented himself as
Easily
top 3, maybe 1B to Mahomes.
Right. In some lists, he might even be number 1. So that just goes to show you the contrast of those comments. Like many lists, there might be a handful of lists where Dak actually makes the top 10, but in nobody's list is he top 5. And according to Shannon, he's better than a guy that is arguably the number 1 quarterback in the league.
No way.
Out of here.
Is Shannon Sharpe? Do you think Shannon Sharpe's a top 10 all-time shit talker in the NFL?
Oh yeah,
because that boy could talk some shit.
Guaranteed.
And then so this is you get a nugget of what he does on on TV as an analyst. Just imagine, stop and fathom the shit he used to talk when he's on the field.
Oh my God, have you guys seen that 30 for 30?
And give credit
about Baltimore. Have you guys seen that 30 for 30?
No,
Shannon Sharpe plays a big part in it, and him and Tony Saragusa, going back and forth. They did a big thing about those two going back and forth, and you're like, holy cow! I bet, and that's just what the cameras caught. I can't imagine some of that shit that happened behind the scenes.
Give credit where credit's due, though. Shannon Sharpe, and I'm obviously, and I think a couple other guys on this panel are old enough to remember watching him play, watching him come into the league. He played kind of in the shadow of his older brother. Sterling Sharpe was a very good receiver. But Shannon Sharpe, he kind of redefined. He was one of those that came into the league kind of at the same time, kind of redefined that tight end position where you don't know if he's a receiver.
Right.
The tight end is super athlete. Shannon Sharpe was very, very good tight end. And I've got a ton of respect for him. But it's just the off-the-wall bullshit that he says, man.
Right.
And you're right. And if you think about it, he was kind of like the predecessor to what tight ends are now.
That's right.
I mean, tight ends are huge. They're huge. They're fast. They've got amazing hands. Used to be you drafted a tight end because he was a great blocker, and you're a running team.
And
he might catch it occasionally, but now these guys are some of the most talented players on the field.
Well, and again, a lot of them, Shannon, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there were several instances where they lined him up as a wideout. So, I mean, you want to talk about confusing defenses, like, so, okay, who's got him? Or do we cover him with a cornerback? We cover him with a safety? He's too fast for a linebacker. I mean, he was just he just kind of transitioned the tight end into what it is now. I think he was kind of the godfather of doing all of that.
He was one of the first, what they call now, matchup nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was one of the first.
Yeah.
So anybody listening to this, let us know what you think. Joe Burrow, I think the Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott is, I mean, shit, that's settled, right? But where would you slot Dak Prescott in on the quarterback hierarchy?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to know what other people think.
And
I
think
think he's right around 10. I think he's right around 10.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him much. I wouldn't put him much past. I mean, if I did,
But he is not sniffing top 5.
If I sat down with everything, all the information involved, I can't imagine in what world I'd ever have him higher than 10. But I would say 10 to 12 is a fair, fair assessment of Dak.
Yeah.
I would love to know what our listeners think. Like, and on the flip side, where are you putting Burrow? I mean, because we all kind of synonymously agree that he's probably top 3, and in some lists he might even be number 1. So, moving on, I just want to kind of open up the floor and ask anybody what a lot of we're going to looks like the Nuggets and the Las Vegas are right on the cusp of winning a championship. Lots of good baseball. What's there on everybody else's mind?
Hey Pat, I want to jump on something, and we can roll through this real quick, because this one was shaking my head, and that is the PGA Tour merging with LIV for baseball.
Oh yeah.
Very controversial. I mean, this is on news shows, and we're not political here, so I don't want to touch that. But the thing that irritates the hell out of me is there were players, because the PGA Tour said if you go play in the LIV Tour, you are never allowed back into the PGA. You will never play here again. Right. So there were amazing golfers that walked away from hundreds of millions of dollars that LIV was offering because they didn't want to jeopardize the PGA. And then all of a sudden, and this happened kind of out of the blue, boys. And I know it was not that long ago, just a few days back, but it made national news everywhere. And I just feel bad for some of these golfers. They feel like, hey, so yeah, that knife in my back, thanks for putting it there. There's the golfers already coming out asking for, okay, we need a serious shakeup in the PGA. Fire everybody. Let's start over, because it seemed like a really shady deal. And no offense, Saudi Arabia backed that with a ton of money on the LIV Tour. And honestly, us being the Patriots that we are, no friend to the United States, but I just feel bad for these golfers that were loyal to the PGA. And they basically feel like they got the shaft. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Just real quick, I just want to get on that because that was a hot one. I've been thinking about that since it went down.
So let me throw some numbers at you. And now that I wish Monahan would have just come out and said it right off the bat.
And that's PGA's commissioner, Monahan, right?
Yes, Jay Monahan.
Yeah.
The commissioner of the PGA. When this whole thing happened and these golfers that stayed loyal to the PGA had to find out on Twitter. Okay.
Jesus.
Woke up in the morning finding out on Twitter. That's the word anyway. That's what they're all saying. Okay. So, but let me throw some numbers at you guys. So the PGA has already spent $50 million in legal fees and $100 million in their reserves between this whole LIV and PGA thing. Okay. So the Saudi Arabia investment firm that is backing LIV Golf, they have $620 billion in assets.
With a B
in assets.
That's a lot of dough.
Listen, the PGA, if they could drag this out forever and they could literally bankrupt the PGA. So I get it in that sense. You know, I love golf, and it just seemed to me that LIV Golf, it was all about it was just all about, you know, what did Mickelson get? 150 million. Dustin Johnson, 150 million. You know, just to come play. That's not even winning a damn tournament.
No, those are and they were playing like 54 holes.
Yeah.
Tournament.
And they turned those contracts down, did they not, Jim?
No, they're there.
No,
those guys
they're
Those guys
okay.
went to LIV Golf. But so guys, let me ask you something too, and it's on the same subject, but it's just a little bit skewered here. It seems to me that the golfers that went to LIV Golf weren't very popular with their peers. on the PGA Tour.
No.
When you think
I don't
about
know.
when you think about Shambo and Koepka and Patrick Reed and some of these guys that went to live golf weren't very popular.
Well, you said Lefty went, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
people that
Lefty's got a
stayed,
pretty-
people
he's
that
got a
stayed in the
pretty big fan
PGA
base.
were pissed at him.
Yeah, but listen, Mickelson, as talented, as great of a career as he's had and everything else, when
The
Tiger was
PGA
going,
Tour doesn't miss him at this point.
no, they don't. No, they don't. And I don't think a lot of people do. Mickelson kind of walked around a little bit with his nose in the air. You know, he was that guy. He was, especially with what happened with Tiger. Then all of a sudden, you know, Lefty became the face of the PGA Tour, and by God, let everybody know it.
So to play devil's advocate, and this is not necessarily my view on this thing, but money talks and bullshit walks, right? We've all heard that.
Pretty much.
So LIV giving these guys guaranteed money. And at this point, the LIV Tour only lasted 18 months. That money that some of these golfers went and signed for with LIV is still owed to them. They still get that huge amount, huge dollar amount.
Yeah, depending on the language of the contract. I mean, yeah. But
I think a lot of it is guaranteed. But how does the PGA run out of money when they're paying these guys a ton of money to win an event? Like, where is the PGA's? And I'm like I said, I'm just playing devil's advocate because I just think, and 650 Bs, right? Is that what you said? So
620 billion. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There's not a lot of corporations in the world that could fight a legal case with
something that
the opposing team having that kind of dough. But how quick did the PGA fold on this?
Well,
I mean,
when you're seeing this thing,
why'd they fold so fast?
Well, because you're seeing this no light. You're seeing this tunnel with no light at the end. Okay, you're already going through your reserves, and these guys have, you know, so you're into it 150 million already.
Yeah, it's a lot of dough.
Well, I think what Pat said is right. I mean, he said basically they have the kind of power, money to totally destroy the PGA.
So that's fucked,
and
right?
put him in bankruptcy.
We all agree with that. That's fucked.
That's completely fucked.
So let me ask you this question, though, guys. So, did the PGA merge with LIV, or did LIV merge with the PGA?
Right. I think at this point, the PGA merged with LIV.
Does anybody know that answer?
Yeah.
I don't know. They say they merged. But did the PGA become a part of LIV Golf, or did LIV Golf become a part
Follow
of
the money,
PGA?
right? You would sure think it's PGA saying, okay, LIV, we're on board.
Yep.
I have another question. So you spoke about these PGA Tour players that decided to make that jaunt, or however you want to say it, to LIV Golf, take the money, which, when there's that much money on the table, I think it's easy for a lot of us to get caught up in the notion, well, how dare you, or what are you thinking? Man, $150 million is $150 million. So
for Tiger, 800 million, right?
Right.
That was Tiger's number.
Yeah.
So
he has enough money though.
I'm not going to pass judgment on the people that accepted the deals. What I am going to ask is, there was a lot of guys, a lot of players that chose not to go because they basically had gotten an ultimatum from the PGA saying, well, if you go, you'll never be back in the PGA. So now that they're merged, how betrayed would you feel if you turned down $200-300 million contract because, you don't want to be banished from the PGA Tour, and now they're merged, and you're telling me my family could have had another $300 million?
Rory McIlroy is the big one, right? Because Tiger's set money wise for life.
Right.
But
No,
like
I'm pretty
Rory
sure Rory
McIlroy,
is too.
well, yeah, but I mean, not in the same way Tiger is.
No.
You don't think Rory McIlroy that guy could have been a $200+ million guy at LIV, right?
Okay, so what
I
about
would
the
think.
smaller names? What about the smaller names that don't always cash in? But they were throwing probably a $50 million offer
Yeah,
sheet,
right.
and they
Yeah.
turned that down. I mean, that $50 million, that's probably 10 times, even 20 times more than what their net worth is. So that you're talking about generational wealth and just wealth. I mean,
I think, but I think this, Pat, I think this is actually going to completely change the landscape because historically, the tour, you had to win to get paid. Right. Or if you're really good later years, get a sponsor, you know what I mean? That you wear their shirt or you use their clubs or whatever, and you made money off of that because you got on TV. But now we're talking about money just to come play in this tour. So they don't have to win anything. So it's going to completely change the landscape, and what's it going to do? Turn it into, okay, so we're going to do contracts for people to play golf. I mean, where does it stop? Is my question. I don't know.
Because that was always the thing with the PGA Tour, right? Is like a guy who just made the cut out of some weird tournament that he won that got into it, where do you find that guy in LIV if all these guys are just contract golf players?
Right. I think it'd be fascinating to read what's in these contracts, though, wouldn't you? I mean,
it's going to come to
absolutely.
light. I mean, sooner or later, it's going to come to light.
So
my take on it. My take on it is that part of this lawsuit had something to do with LIV golfers not being able to play PGA Tour events. Okay, they could play USGA, which the US Open, but they weren't going to let them play PGA Tour events like the Ryder Cup and stuff. So dropping that lawsuit was very important for the LIV golfers to be able, now they can play any of the tournaments. But it just kind of blows me away how even in golf, a gentleman's game, how it just comes down to nothing. It's just all money, fellas.
All money.
Yeah. It's all money.
This is a whole world, man. It's just
when you're starting to talk about B's instead of M's, I mean, morals and shit, all of that goes out the window, man. It's such a disgusting amount of money. It's stupid money.
Yep.
Well, what's fascinating to me is
maybe Cocktails and Curveballs should totally merge with the PGA /LIV/
with
if they want to throw us an offer. They want to throw us an
somebody.
Offer.
Yeah,
fucking A,
with somebody,
go,
anybody,
man.
really.
I don't care.
With anybody.
Shannon Sharpe. Shannon
we're free
Sharpe,
agents.
I apologize for what I said earlier. I apologize. If you would like to come on Cocktails and Curveballs, I didn't mean it, buddy. I know you'd whip my ass. But go ahead and come on in and be a part of the show, okay?
Anytime you hear somebody say, well, not everything's for sale, what my response to that is? Throw another $1 million in a pot, and you keep throwing $1 million in a pot, and eventually you're going to find the sales price. I don't care what it is, man. I mean, it's
fucking A, yeah.
You're gonna reach a point where somebody's like, okay, it's yours. I mean,
and to be fair to some of these guys, listen, Mickelson's 50 years old, over 50. Dustin Johnson's almost 40. So these guys taking that money later in their career when they don't know if they'll maybe ever win another tournament,
Yeah.
Really.
Well, and set yourself up too, where
your family, you're set. I mean,
wealth.
Exactly. We've talked about it before. Generational wealth. Like that's dumb. Like that's a lot of fucking money.
Does that mean every golfer now going forward is going to be signing a contract to just play? This is the problem that I'm excited to see what happens because it's where I think it's where it's shaping up.
They did say that they got some kind of an incentive program for the guys that did stay.
Yeah, the guys that stuck around in the PGA are going to get a cut of the money that LIV guys want.
You would hope so.
Yeah.
Damn right. Holy shit. I would hope that would be the case.
We got a few more minutes. Anybody else got a quick topic we can run into really quick?
I'd just like you to pronounce the beer you're drinking again.
Do it because he can't do it.
The beer I'm drinking is Schofferhofer.
We think.
Schofferhofer. Okay.
Schofferhofer.
Hey, what kind is it? Wait. He can't even get this word right. What kind is it? It's a what?
You're talking to me?
Come on, Pat. Yeah,
You talking to me?
What kind of beer is it?
Schafferhofer. Heffenweizen.
Schafferhofer, bitch.
It's Hefeweizen. It's not
Hey, so-
Heffen.
It's all
Weizen.
German, baby.
I know we only got
I feel like 90% of the people I'm talking to knew what I was talking about. So
Yeah, they did.
maybe 85.
Listen, man, you skated last week. We had to give you a little bit of shit. Come on.
Oh yeah, it's I was working last Sunday, believe it or not, making. The only reason I was doing it is because I was making crazy amounts of money. But so yeah, I went and did that for my new employer. Worked really well. Worked a ton of hours. Went well. It's good to get home, get some sleep. I did watch your guys' episode. It went really well. I was proud of you guys. Did a good job. Summer's here. Got a lot of stuff going on. So anybody planning some backyard barbecues or some vacations?
Hell
Nope,
no.
I'm planning on this.
Nice.
I'm planning on I'm rolling with cocktails and curveballs like until I die, which I'm probably not that far away from because I'm getting up there. But
Right
no,
on.
Hey,
I
Jim,
can't do
did you-
anything, dude.
did
I got
you-
so much shit going on. I can't.
Jim,
Take
did you have
vacation
something you wanted to get in real quick?
I did real quick here, and we can do this rapid fire style. So I don't know how many of you guys watched the Women's College World Series and the Super Regionals up until that point, but I gave a curtain call to the Oklahoma women's softball team here a couple weeks back, and I'm taking that fucker back. I have never
A
seen
take back, nice.
I have never seen
Wow.
such display of bullshit celebration in my life. These guys, listen, man, they lost one game all year. Whether they 61-1 or 60, it's
Yeah.
crazy. But they acted
They
like
are the team.
They acted like they never were there. They acted like they'd never been there, like they're this surprise team of destiny.
Right.
And on a walk, they're celebrating and skipping down the line and looking at their dugout and get up, and all this on a fucking walk. Act like you've been there before, ladies.
Right. Right.
I mean, it's not that I don't want to see him celebrate. It's not that I think that that's bad. It's just, it was way, way overboard.
But Jim, really quick, don't you feel like that's almost become cliche? And not so much in the professionals, because I don't know if it's changed in the professional sports, but among college athletes, with the way LSU was celebrating and Angel Reese pointed her finger, right, walking around, chasing around Caitlin Clark, pointed her finger in her face, followed her around for like 30 seconds, pointed her finger. A lot of people loved it. A lot of people had a hard time with it. But I feel like in college sports, it's moving to that area where now it's just become trendy to just act like an idiot. Just these celebrations they're doing is just out of control. It's like,
I think this
difference-
generation is raised way different than even all of us, Tyler, you included. I think
Thank you.
I think it really, yeah, we'll include you once in a while.
Thank you.
No, it becomes very, it's just everybody doing it. And they're being taught this stuff from back in Pee Wee, man. And in, their third grade basketball league, they're trying to get these kids fired up and excited. And I see it. Xander's, in Little League, there are some kids, man, and there's nothing we can do about it. I appreciate what you said, Jim, because I saw that. I was very disappointed as well, because to me, it shows no class.
but it's coaching.
And
I'm sorry. I mean, what you're saying is true about the generation, but what coach is going to talk? You know what? If the kids are doing that, if Angel Reese is doing that on the court, it's because her coach allows it. And you look at the way her coach acted with wearing the outfit she's wearing and the way she was actually coming onto the court in that LSU game, the championship game,
I saw it.
which should have been a technical. She was getting in the referee's face. I mean, so listen, your team takes on the identity of the coach.
Yeah,
Those girls,
100%.
Jim, who were doing that, they only do that because their coach allows that shit. I'm sorry, man. A
Yeah,
coach that
it's
doesn't allow that.
Like I said, being old school, there's a saying, act like you've been there before.
Right. Right.
And it just got ridiculous with a walk, ladies, a walk. And you're celebrating a damn walk. I get it. This is just what you guys are doing, but it just got way out of hand. And that's all. I'll leave it there.
Well, and they're that good. That team is that good, and they don't lose, and they know it. And I think it's getting to their head.
I like that instead of a curtain call, you did a take back.
I dig that too. So now we're allowed. He has opened the floodgates. We are now allowed to do that.
Yeah, to do a take back. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Sorry, man.
Anybody else? Anybody else?
I'm sorry, ladies. I'm sorry. You had a wonderful season, unbelievable tournament. You know, swept the series in 2. Listen, but calm down.
Be respectful, please. As me, but so I got one real quick, and this is real quick. And it's because this guy used to be just a stud pitcher for my Mets. Noah Syndergaard, and I know he's in LA right now. His last 3 starts, he's given up over 5 runs in all 3. Since he had Tommy John surgery, 20 to 21, he hasn't been the same. And he moved for more money. The Mets didn't want to give him what he had. And he's actually on leave right now. They said he has a blister on his index finger of his throwing hand, but there's also some mental things going on with him. And called him Thor when he was in New York, and he was a great pitcher. I hope he can get his shit in a kid a little bit and come back. So my current call is to Noah Syndergaard, man. And I know you're in LA now, but I hope you could get your stuff together and come back and play like you used to, you know? So that's that.
Ty?
Yeah, we hammered it quite a bit, but my curtain call goes out to the PGA Tour players that stuck by their guns. That because like we talked about, man, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money that they turned down for them to, you know, stick by what they believe in, for whatever reason that may have been, you know, for it to go down the way it has, and it seems like it's all for naught now. But I think there's a lot of people that really respect those guys that especially that were vocal about why they were not gonna jump on that train. So shout out to them. I hope it all works out.
Good. Yep, I agree. My shout out is going to my curtain call is going to Wilson Contreras, who plays for my St. Louis Cardinals. Typically, when you sign an $80 million contract, 5 years, you wait till your second or third year to turn into an enormous pile of shit. But well done for him turning it into 160 games in. He's right at the Mendoza line. I think he's got 3 dingers on the year. They actually pulled him from the catcher spot and put him in the outfield or first base. Another quality signing by our illustrious John Mazzoliak, VP of Operations in St. Louis. So well done, Contreras. Way to show everybody a big pile of shit you are 60 games in. That's our show for today, everybody.
Hey, hold on. I got one more thing, guys, real quick. Okay. Amanda Nunez.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Yep. Just retired.
That's a good one.
Amanda Nunez retired last night, went out
with
on
both
top,
belts.
two division champion.
Yep.
Congratulations, lady.
Yep. Congratulations. Big thumbs up.
Big cheers to Amanda Nunez.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And for anybody that stuck around to see the end of this episode, remember, like, share, comment, do all that shit that you're supposed to do, because we are getting dangerously close to having our first guest on the show. So I think we're gonna start putting some names in the hat, and the more likes, the more comments, all that good stuff, man, the closer you're gonna be to the top. So
remember, everybody can catch us on Instagram, Cocktails and Curveballs, Cocktails and Curveballs on YouTube. Like, share, follow, tell everybody else about us. I hope you guys enjoy the show, and until next time, cheers to everybody who was with us. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.